Right, welcome to the Bear Tiger Podcast 2023. This is episode 21. Going to welcome my esteemed guest today, Joshua White. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much.
And Mark Raven.
Hi, guys. Yeah, feeling good.
So just a little comment, actually. I had a bit of feedback from one of the listeners who I played golf with the other day, and he actually said that they felt that I didn't introduce you guys well enough.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know the names, and they quite liked some of your points you said. So I'd like to know a bit more about you. So Josh, tell us about yourself.
Well, you sprung this on me here.
Right on the spot here. No, well, okay, I'll do it. So Josh is a professional golfer.
Correct.
Ex-touring professional.
Correct.
Played a bit of Challenge Tour and a bit on the European Tour. Very good amateur as well. Won the Berkshire Trophy.
Yeah.
Say that, yeah. He's done that. And now he's a very good coach. So if he offers any tips on here, you should definitely listen to him because he knows what he's talking about most of the time.
Thanks,
Zane. Yeah, no problems. Yeah, no problems.
Easy. Cheers, mate.
And Mark Raven, do you want to go? Or I'm happy to.
Let's hear your version. Yeah.
So Mark Raven, also a professional golfer, a friend of mine for many, many years now. Probably had 20 odd years now, isn't it?
Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah.
It's quite a long time. So now you caddy and help people with their performance. I'll say you're more than just a caddy. You have an amount of clients and you help them with their game all the way through, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, I would class myself as a performance mentor now.
Mentor, there we go.
So, bosh.
What a term. And a massive car enthusiast and music as well.
Yep, true, yeah.
The man has the cleanest car, probably in Surrey. When we used to go to car meets back in the day, not last year, like 20 years ago, he used to take his wheels off and clean the inside of them individually.
Too much time on my hands.
No, those are the days. No time for that now.
No, absolutely not. Well, I won't let anyone else clean my car. My car's, well, in the 20 years that we've known each other, it would never have made it through a car wash or to any of these car wash places that have popped up. I just can't do it. The amount of times I've seen these guys drop a chamois or something on the floor and then just carry on after they picked it up, it just makes me cry. So it's not having it. And also the gear they use to clean the cars, it's like paint thinners. It works on the spot, but 2 years down the line, there's going to be no lacquer left on your car, mate.
So if you ever get a car from Mark Raven, it's going to have the best paintwork ever. You're like massaged.
Yeah.
With some special shampoo. Josh, you like that? Do you always only wash your own car?
No, I actually got it cleaned today in Banstead by one of them pop-up car washers.
Oh, good man. So it's the start of 2023. Did you boys have a good Christmas, Josh?
I had a lovely Christmas. I actually had almost a couple of weeks off, really. Spent a bit of time with Kate and with my little boy who's now 2. So I enjoy putting the footprints out for the big man come in and stuff like that. So it was really nice.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah, he loved it.
Yeah. Still believes. And we had a nice little trip down to Portugal down there, didn't we, to the Costa Terra resort in Lisbon for, 3 rounds of golf? Yeah, 3 rounds of golf, 4 days.
That was my Christmas. That was my Christmas present, that one.
That's a proper Christmas present, that, isn't it?
Oh, mate.
We've been there a couple of times now, and it's what a place that is. Just one of the best golfing experiences that you could have.
I was literally saying to Mark earlier, because he said about that we went down there, and I said it's hard to explain because the clubhouse has still not been built, but it's still the best golfing experience place I've been to, that I've had. It's hard to explain that to someone.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Everything you could want, like food and beverage wise, is there, and the service and how everyone looks after you. But you know what? One bit I really love is when you arrive in the morning and your clubs are already down, ready to go, but everybody gets their own golf cart. Like there's no like having to share a golf cart. It's just that your club's on your cart, get the Bluetooth on, get the speakers on, whatever drink you want on there, and off you go.
Yeah, drive it straight onto the range.
Yeah, don't have to turn the cart path. You can drive right up to where you hit balls from. Yeah. There's some good in the short game area.
Unbelievable. Which is Black Cat, isn't it?
Cat,
Michael Jordan's performance company.
Is it Michael Jordan's performance company, or is that the one they've got at his place, the Grove 23? Because Black Cat makes me think it's Tiger.
Yeah.
I think we probably maybe would have heard if Tiger did that sort of thing.
That's what I was told, but that kind of makes sense now you said that. But yeah, mate, it's the Grove, isn't it?
Grove 23, where he had the first short game area, which was like specifically designed, isn't it, for performance and for training. So like you got one angle, you pitch to the 2 or 3 greens, and they got like dead easy shots up a hill, kind of into a slope where you could just work your technique from a few different lies. And then where the other hitting areas are from, I kind of across the greens, aren't they? So
even the grains,
different
down
pimps
grains,
and down
into
grains. So you've got to work shots in from different shots, like maybe mini 40-yard cuts and draws and spinny ones and high ones. If you've got all that about you, I mean, most people try not to duff it.
The best thing I think about that short game area is the name of the grass. 007 Bent is the name of the grass.
Nice.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, so maybe we'll be able to share something else within the near future. We've got some, Josh and I had some news it's kind of working on at the moment, so we'll get to that in the next couple of pods, which is hopefully down a similar sort of route. But yeah, we'll leave that one just for now. But yeah, being a performance man at Marquez, you would absolutely love this place. Well, we'll show Mark all the pictures and we'll maybe put 1 or 2 pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
Little secret locations.
Yeah. A step above IMG when we were there, I can only imagine. That was cutting edge at the time, wasn't it?
At the time, yeah. So Mark and I, so this is when we kind of first became really good mates, really, about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We went down to the Bollettieri Academy, which is a IMG academy, and the Bollettieri was the name of the whole place, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that was because it started off as just tennis, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like Bollettieri's sort of base, and then it branched out with golf, and basically it got to the point where we were there, it covered pretty much every mainstream sport that they played in America. So
yeah, it's a mega place. So Nick Bollettieri is he the best, or he's one of the most well-renowned tennis coaches?
Yeah,
right?
Rickett, yeah, exactly.
And there would be stars who we know are stars now, there as youngsters just training and sweating their asses off.
Yeah.
Every afternoon just on the court, just like, ripping around. And I remember watching one day, I think it might have been Sharapova. I remember he was standing on one side with a big bucket of balls, and she's on the other side, like dripping with sweat. And he's just like making her run like the whole time. And he must have said to her one more for probably like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And she just like was just having it basically. And it was interesting. It's an interesting way to see now being a coach, seeing what goes into becoming an expert and being elite. And it was, as much as he was obviously training her to have a technique, just pressing a young star's resolve like that. When they want to give up and they could hardly run, hardly move, and, sweating and it's hot, just going up one more.
Yeah.
One more. I guess that's where the stars are born.
Yeah. And we were lucky enough, actually, in the program that I was in, we got to spend a bit of time with him. He did a few sort of talks, seminars, whatever you want to call it. And we got some one-to-one time with him. And he's a hard guy. Like you say, he pushes people really hard. And he was a key factor in our conditioning. So 20 years ago, to have a bunch of kids conditioning on top of the range stuff and the mental stuff was again, cutting edge. But so he came to a few of our training sessions in the gym and was just directing basically and pushing us harder and harder, because the golf side of things, the coaches weren't necessarily so in tune with that. So he was the driving force at the beginning, and then obviously they picked up pace and like TPI come along, etc. But yeah, he was a driving force big time up there.
What? So he'd be in there kind of like kicking your ass a bit?
Basically, yeah. He'd be coming right up into your face, like in whatever it is, the 3rd or 4th rep of it, and just be like, go. Imagine like a Gary Player, like
right. Yeah.
positive, but like really firm and like great inspirational guy to have access to. That's a memory, definitely, for me. Yeah. I mean, it was some place, really. As you said, it was kind of ahead of its time. The first time I went there, you had to go off-site and go to a local driving range place, and there was like a chipping green and so forth, not out a golf course. And then obviously when we went back, it was like a proper athlete's kind of campus. That's where Millsy started as well. I remember first going out there and seeing that facility you were talking about, and it was pretty good. Yeah. And that's where I met Millsy. And then, next time I come out, it was all the Spandoodie one.
Kind of ahead of its time, but
I've got a great story for another time about the NFL draft players that went there as well. Yeah.
Do you want to give it to us now?
Yeah.
Go on.
So every year they have the NFL draft in America, and the IMG sort of candidates.
The draft being where the college players go and then they all train and go through certain tests.
Exactly.
Get data on them, don't they? So then the professional teams can then choose them.
Yeah, and the IMG, the guys that were sort of being teed up to be taken care of by IMG if they made it into the professional ranks, they used to send a group of their guys to the academy for the 2 to 3 weeks in the build-up to the draft. So they were mega, mega strict. They all stayed on site, and that's where I was staying before I moved in with Garrett. And these guys, I didn't know who these guys... I knew that they were NFL players, but I knew nothing about the NFL and didn't know who they were, that they were superstars, etc. So I got chatting to a few of them throughout the meals, and they were on very strict diet plans. And they basically found out where I was, my room, and they were paying me hundreds and hundreds of dollars to go out and bring them pizzas, burgers, everything like that. Like basically just bring it into a room. And I had like a connecting door to one of their sections. I was in a room and so I was basically just feeding all these NFL players like outside of their meal plans, these pizzas. It was hilarious. And then because I managed to get reasonably close to them through that. And then all the stuff, the stories, and I had access to them training in the gym and seeing them work in preparation. Again, it's just these things. It's all part of the picture for me, like my experience, being able to see that from that age and seeing how hard the tennis people work with Bollettieri, how hard these guys are working with their coaches, and then what we did with the Ledbetter side of things. It's just an amazing place. Yeah. I don't know what it's like now.
But to be fair, hanging around with top athletes like that, like just being in the presence and everyone working together, that's like almost, even though you're in different sports, you're all part of the same team almost.
Yeah, the value that I gained from that was, incredible.
And the mindset of that early on, because I think coming from golf, you don't really have that, like, unless you do what you've done, which is like kind of leave your own country and go to do it. Because I know in the UK, there's not really many places where you kind of get that support or that outlook from day one. You kind of find that later. Yeah. Like you have to either get onto the national squad or go to the States, go to college, really. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of golf colleges, I think, which are probably trying to do that sort of thing. I only really know the golf college down in Sussex, but I don't feel like it's not... There's more money, isn't there?
Well, and also, you're not...
More money for facilities and that sort of stuff.
You can have the best facilities in the world, but it's the exposure to other top-level athletes, coaches, etc., guys that are doing it, have done it, or will be, the next... That was the thing that was invaluable, really. Obviously, very privileged to be able to have that opportunity. So you're there, if anyone needs a pizza, pay Mark $300 and he'll sort you out. Yeah, that's it.
It was a good pizza.
It was all right pizza.
All right, so let's have a little chat about what's coming up this next year. Before we do that, let's go around and say who are your one best male player and one best female player of 2022. Josh, start with you.
I think you got to go for Rory, to be fair. I feel like to get back to world number one, and then I feel like he sort of lost his drive, or he lost something, didn't he? Like he went away for a bit, and to get that back, I think it's a big year for him to get that back and then to get back on top. So fair play to him for that. And then I'd say Nelly Corder for me. I don't know, Lynn. Do you know what? I'm going to say Lynn Grant.
Okay.
I'm going to go Lynn, just for the dominance.
Just for being good every week.
And for keeping a card on the LPGA, for not even playing one event on the LPGA.
Yeah, I wonder what's happened with the older... It has to do with her not getting vaccinated, isn't it? Not allowed into the US. But that's the thing. You need to be vaccinated to go to the US.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Fair enough. Each their own. Mark, who's yours?
I mean, it's hard to look past Rory, isn't it? His season last year, for so many reasons, was so impressive. So I'd have to go for that. And then... I'll go away from Nelly Corder because, again, she's the obvious choice. But Charlie Hull, it was nice to see her win over in the States again this year. And I think, hopefully, for her, that'll be the springboard for a really, really good 2023. I'd like to see that. She's great.
Yeah. Mine, I'm going to say, like, moving away from the Rory kind of subject, for me, Tony Finau, just off of kind of a bit of a coming of age towards the end of the season. We know he's an amazing golfer, and it seemed like when the players moved across to the Live Tour, he kind of stepped up. And I think maybe, there was a few other guys coming through. That young lad, Tom Kim, he's been quite exciting, youngster. That was good to see him do that and kind of come in with a bit of energy. But I was doing doing a bit of media training, and they were talking about going back through some of the stuff I did on Sky, and when you get certain players, you get to talk about or do the analysing and sort of stuff. Or when you talk at the beginning of the show, like Henny will say, like, who's your pick for this week? And pretty much if Tony Finau's in the field, I just pick him. So I'm just going on the fact that I just like him a lot. He's a bit of a ledge, isn't he? He's funny on social media.
He's a good lad.
And then in the women's game, I'm going to say, I think, there's like that young Thai girl, Titikun. She's kind of like, she grabbed that world number one spot, I think twice now. She's won a major. I think she's got a really good game. Again, like, obviously Nelly Corder is like, she's the business. She's absolutely brilliant, but moving away, trying to find someone else who's not Nelly Corder because she's got a perfect golf swing and all that sort of stuff. I think Titikun, I think she's going to have a really good year this year. She won a major last year Then she's grabbed the number one spot this year. So I think for someone so young, I think that was going to be a pretty big build-up. Josh, you seemed like you didn't even know who that was.
I had no idea who that was.
She's a JL ambassador.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Cool. Whoops.
You know now?
Yeah. I just think the name would have stuck out if I heard it before.
Well, her name is like, if you read it, it's like Titikul.
Okay.
But apparently you pronounce it Titikun.
Okay.
So there's if it ever comes up. So a bit like Sahith Tagala.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that one. I was going to say him and bowled it.
Sahith Tringali.
There you go.
Yeah,
but,
so
mate, no one's even mentioned like Smith, Cam Smith. Like, just because is it
who?
Exactly.
Who?
Ooh. But he had an unbelievable year. Really.
Yeah, which kind of brings on to the next point, really. Like, I know everyone's talked it to death, but I think I feel like Liv has turned a bit of a corner. We've kind of gotten past, is it going to be a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing.
This time last year it was like, is it going to be a thing? And we were chatting a bit earlier about the PGL.
Yeah.
And was that going to be a thing? And what is it? And then all the field drama. And then it's like, then it became a thing. Then it was like, a bit of a forbidden fruit, wasn't it, for a while? And it seems like now people are kind of getting past that now, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, the biggest point there is that it actually is a thing now. I don't know when it's going to start up again or anything like that or who's playing in it. But I would 100% watch it. Definitely.
You're going to tune into YouTube and get it flying.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Is there still time for a deal or is that off the table now for 2023? Oh, it's a pretty tight turnaround.
For you to play.
I'm hoping that there's still time for that deal. If the agents are still listening, there's still time. No, I mean from the TV.
Went to Bolterry 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I am ready. No, from the TV sort of side of things. I mean, obviously these guys need a long time to prepare. So I'm assuming that 2023 as a season, again, is not, no one's going to cover that. So it's YouTube again.
It seems like at the moment, there's been no networks who are taking it just yet. But I guess because it's YouTube and it's kind of free, they can pivot and do that at any point, really.
Yeah.
Because they want to and get it right.
Open, yeah.
I mean, I'd heard rumblings of like, which sounds quite interesting because of the way they do it. They've kind of got a chance of actually going toward different audiences via different avenues. So like we all consume golf, like you and Murray, Rob Lee, Nick Doherty, that side of things from European golf, and then, American golf, Faldo and Jim Nantz and people. But if there's like a younger generation, they can now like have a channel, like a YouTube channel where Liv comes through, but it's run by like influencers, not necessarily like Rick Shields, but like someone who's like a golf influencer who the youngsters kind of know.
Yeah.
And they can like sit, so the youngster can sit there and watch that golf with like influencers and younger people like commentating on it. And then you can go to another channel, which could be for like the more traditional
Brilliant
watcher.
idea.
Great idea.
Brilliant idea.
Mark sent me a profile on Insta of the guys that they're comedians and they're also, I think they got a pod. They're also influencers as well.
Country club golfer or something. Something like that.
And they go into when they do the interviews and the press conferences and they give them all the funny questions and the hard questions, the banter, and it is good. Like, it's proper funny, to be fair.
And they do the back off challenge as well. I'll look at them. I think it's the country club something, but they do a thing called the back off challenge where in the pro-ams and practice rounds they pick a tee and they literally rip into these guys and in the hope that they can get them to back off the shot or they crack up or things like that. They did one on Trump and ripped into him.
How did he take it?
So okay, like and he hit the shot and he just sort of walked on. But there are some guys that have a look back at them and just be like, whoa, that was a bit much. And some guys will laugh it off and they've got some good inside info on some of the players because they're quite friendly with them. So but it just to your point though, it's a different way of consuming it. I think that sounds like a great idea. Like you say, I'm imagining it as like when you log into YouTube, it's got it live as one thing. Yeah. It could almost have 4 or 5 different versions. You can have your old man version, your middle...
like a Twitch live stream down the side as well with everyone like chatting and talking.
What, like a chat?
Yeah, it's a chat. It's a live stream chat.
But you could type on it?
Yeah, you can type on it, yeah.
God, what a shocker that was.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, he knifed that.
Look at the raz on that.
Look at the razzle on that. Because it's quite interesting now. This team aspect, which I hope they can sort out the Ryder Cup, because like that team aspect in golf is like probably the best show we get to see. And if the other tours can somehow embrace like getting the team aspect in there, because that seems for them like that's going to be their low hanging fruit, really. Because that is their USP, isn't it?
I think the biggest step to that has just happened, and that is the Masters at Augusta allowing the live players to play. And I think that's the first step towards that.
That's massive, isn't it? That is a real big piece of news, I think.
Yeah.
That's a shift.
It's funny because I think maybe everyone else was kind of waiting to see what the Masters said. Everyone was being a little bit like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do. Because if anyone's going to do it, they can do what they want to do. And they've taken that. But they haven't said that. They've only said for this year, right? They're not come out and gone like, oh, we don't care about all that.
I think the dust would just settle. I think that's it now. If there was a year that they wasn't going to be allowed to play, I think it was this one.
You reckon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. And I think the PGA Tour must have been, when that press release come out, they must have been a bit of a head in hands moment for the PGA Tour. I would have thought that they would say that their relationship would have stood strong and they would have helped them out there, but they haven't. And I think the Masters tend to make some pretty punchy calls on the way they do things, and it tends to sort of form the path moving forward more often than not. Not everything, but I think that's a big moment in the whole live.
Take it back a bit, actually. The RNA came out and said that they were going to stay open, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, I think the RNA were the first people to say, to be fair to them, actually, said, like, the rules haven't changed. Like, if you qualify, then you're in. I think so. But yeah, if anyone was going to say no, it seems like it was going to be the Masters. So we'll see where they go from there.
Well, I guess the USPGA now is the one, isn't it? We'll see what they do. Because you'd have to say the US Open would probably have to follow suit with the RNA with their...
They all will, yeah.
Yeah. But the USPGA is the players one, isn't it? So it could be...
Yeah. Well, the PGA is run by the PGA of America. So again, it's still another entity.
Yeah, oh,
it's
true. Yeah, it's not the PGA Tour. Yeah, no, you're right.
Like, the name sounds kind of the same, doesn't it? But it's still another entity.
Going back to your point, though, with the Ryder Cup, obviously all the points is what needs to be sorted out, isn't it? How are they going to earn them points?
Yeah. Because you think even if they let them have points from this point onwards, would they have enough time to make it? But I guess in Europe, live players can still play, can't they? So to this point, they can still be accumulating points.
Yeah.
And I guess they got that appeal pending in February where they get to see if they can carry on playing on the European Tour or DP World Tour or not. I guess that would be quite telling.
Yeah. Like you say, though, I just hope they get that system sorted out because the Ryder Cup is...
Okay, then here's a question. Do you even want live players in the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, 100%. I want the best players in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's definitely a handful of players that are still the best players, obviously, on the live tour, aren't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Just going back one step there, you said the European Tour in February have got that ruling. Yeah. I mean, what happens there if it goes the wrong way and live players are allowed to keep playing? They've got an alliance with the PGA Tour. Like, what happens there?
Yeah, I mean, weirdly, like from a fan point of view or from a selfish point of view, just watching golf, like you kind of hope they'll be allowed to, because then I reckon they will then see like people like Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson play in Europe. But it doesn't work out great for the guys who have just got their card.
Yeah,
and they would maybe be pushed back, but. It's going to be pretty cool to see an Open champion playing in the Spanish Open.
Yeah.
And at a lower.
Or something like that. It could be literally the last open door to sorting this out somewhat amicably. Because if that goes that way, let's say, then the PGA Tour might somewhere down the line have to soften there. Whereas if it goes the live can't play anything, then it's the ball's back in the PGA Tour's court and it's kind of the door's been closed. Yeah. So it could be a really interesting development there in February to look forward to. That again could just open up things to something completely.
Isn't it amazing though? Like you wouldn't think we're having this conversation a year ago.
Yeah, well,
it's already come so far. Like, I don't think live are sweating. I think they're just rubbing their hands together.
Yeah,
that they've got this far in a short period of time.
Well, they know they've got. On their structure, they've got 2 more years, so 23, 24, and then they run out of money if someone doesn't come on board to buy the rights, etc., etc. So they've got another 2 years where they know that they will exist regardless of what happens.
I just hope they sort out the drop off who plays in like the Order of Merit and like the tour school side of it, and I hope that's sorted.
What do you mean?
So, like, if the bottom players that don't play very well, like they drop off, where do they go?
The live tour,
the live tour,
yeah.
Just so they got somewhere to go,
And then they have to go off and spend their millions on their own.
Yeah, well, not this year though, really, is it? Like, you think we know a couple of the players that have probably played 1 or 2 events and not been invited back, and their career could be over from the other events.
Yeah, which, you know what, there's their choice though, isn't it? Like, if it gone well, they would have upsided it on millions and millions of dollars. And that's. Guess that is kind of golf, isn't it? Like they made that choice and they have to do it.
Yeah.
They've done it.
I wonder if those guys like that can then say, okay, well, I've been kicked off the Liv, for example. So they sort of renounce their membership or whatever it is, and then say at the end of 2023, I'm going to go to tour school for European Tour or Corn Ferry or whatever it is.
I guess that's the bit they need to sort out.
I wonder if that's an option. You know, whether you do get a second bite at the cherry almost.
And also, like, if they do get banned, like, it's not unlikely would it be lifetime bans or not. It'll be a ban and a fine for a certain amount of time. Yeah,
because then you are starting to mess with people's livelihoods, aren't you? Yeah. Yes, they've made a decision to play one over the other, but in the example of someone that's dropped off and won't have the opportunity to get back on the Liv, you can't ruin that guy's career. Like, he's still a professional golfer. He still needs somewhere to play.
Weird though, isn't it? But if you know the rules, if you've been told that's the rule and you make the decision, I get what you're saying. On the other hand, it's like, it's our ball, it's our game. We told you if you're going to go over there, you can't play in our game anymore. Like, you know, it's not as if they've gone there and been like, oh, I didn't realise I was going to get fined, or I didn't realise I wanted to back in. Like,
yeah, it's a fair point. Fair point.
Everyone's kind of been told, haven't they?
The world ranking's already been done though as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the part in it, which is like really making it a bit messy now, isn't it? Right, like we're talking about Cam Smith. Like, Cam Smith's going to be, he'll get to a point where he'll start tumbling down the rankings really quickly because he's not playing at the moment. He's kind of holding the space. Where is he now?
He's got to be what? I still think he's 5th or something.
Is he really?
Well, maybe 3rd.
Yeah, OWGR. So a quick look.
3rd, 5th.
View current ranking. Yeah, he's 3rd.
3rd.
I mean, that's going to drop off pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going
to. Everyone around him goes McIlroy, Scheffler, then Smith, then Cantlay, Rahm, Schauffele, Zalatoris, Justin Thomas, Fitzpatrick. Like, he'll start falling outside of those guys, and then he's gone.
And when he wins the Masters,
then he's gone. No, at the you know how they took away his parking space at Sawgrass.
Wow,
little whistle there. They put up the flag this week of the Aussie flag, so they're still respecting that he's the past champion, even though he don't have to be there, and they've kind of banned him from the property. He's still got his flag up for this year at Sawgrass, so that was put up yesterday.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, the team side will be quite interesting. So okay, for the Live Tour or against it?
4.
Okay.
You?
Fair enough. I'm 50-50 still. Like, I think there's some exciting stuff to go, but
as a fan,
still like there's a bit, the way that it's gotten to this point just seems really crap. Just seems that there could have been a much better way of getting there.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for I like the chat of the teams, that sort of stuff. If I'm honest, I'm probably not going to flick on YouTube to watch it just yet.
Okay.
That's where I'm sitting.
Before we leave the Live, it's Country Club Adjacent is the Instagram account, which is well worth a follow, actually. Those guys are funny guys.
Yeah, very funny.
I was going to write that down. Country. And where can you find them?
They're on Instagram. That's the account that I follow them on. Okay. But then they are on the Live Golf sort of broadcasts and things like that occasionally. Yeah. You see like Josh said, in the media rooms and stuff. So.
All right, so just to move it away from the Live chat a little bit, what PGA Tour event would you be looking forward to mostly in this coming year?
The Players.
Nice.
Because I'll be there.
Gonna be. Loves it.
Gutted.
Bush.
PGA Tour event outside the major. I guess it's the waste management.
Yeah, you like that, yeah?
Well,
I like it.
Just the hype, the build up to it, and I just do love that par 3, 16th, isn't it?
Yeah.
16th. It's becoming iconic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's there. It's iconic. Some great stuff has happened on that hole. It was funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day that was sort of reviewing 2022, and the two guys. Oh God, Harry Higgs
and Joel Damon.
Yeah, that's it. That moment where they ripped their gear off there. It's just stuff like that. I mean, I look forward to seeing stuff like this. It's a bit different. It's an amphitheatre. It's like nothing else you see throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some places are trying to.
PGA Tour events, they're late par 3. They try and make that.
Yeah.
And we noticed it quite a lot last year. It is quite good. It does get a bit rowdy, but nothing gets anywhere near that waste management 16th.
I was very lucky to be there for that hole-in-one this year. On next to the green in the stands.
Yeah.
And for 5 minutes, non-stop, seeing beer thrown everywhere. Not just on the green, the whole hole.
I wonder how much beer, what would be the amount of money of beers thrown onto the hole when that hole-in-one went in?
Yeah.
How much was a beer there? $10?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it was
bucks.
it was a lot.
Yeah, but a few grand, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a few grand to be fair.
A few grand being chucked
That's a
out.
decent
You think about that
champagne
when you
spray.
say that. How about when England score in the footballs in the World Cup and everyone
Yeah.
throws it? That's the money across the country
Yeah.
and the nation. That
Yeah, imagine
when
that.
you think about it. Yeah,
We've
but
done it.
unbelievable that
Yeah.
golf hole, that
And
experience.
It's the OG, isn't it? They're the ones that built it up,
Yeah.
and then it's now, this, unless you go higher and higher and higher, you can't get better than that.
Yeah, that is the business. For me, it would be the Bay Hill Invitational. It's probably because of previously watching Tiger just box putts from like 25, 30 feet downhill, left to right, time and time again. So that kind of gives it a little bit of prestige. But just feel like it's like the first event where like the course is really, really difficult and everyone kind of comes together.
What's Jack's event?
That's Memorial.
Memorial.
So this is the King's event, isn't it?
And Bay Hill starts the run, doesn't it?
It does.
You get a bit of good golf before, then
Yeah.
from Bay Hill, you really feel like you're in.
Yeah,
You're
because like
in
waste
for the
management is
season.
still in that little realm
Yeah,
of
it's
like
very early.
shootout, and it
Yeah.
and it's like not. Whereas you kind of find from like Bay Hill, it's a bit like I can't wang it everywhere now and shoot 65.
Yeah.
Like I've got
You've
to
got
like
play some golf.
yeah, that's the bit. And if you win there, you can go on to have quite a good season. Which obviously Tiger's done that, and then obviously Scotty Scheffler won the waste management, which was a bit more of a shootout, like more dome golf kind of golf, and then he goes to Bay Hill where it's just hard as nails, rock hard greens and thick rough, and then he wins there. And he wins the match play, and you're like, right, so he can win match play, and he can win when it's low scoring, and he can win when it's tough. And then, funny enough, goes to win the Masters, doesn't he? And then becomes world number one for a while, which was, fair play to him, but it was probably the most boring world number one run for quite a while because it's been like he was on it for a while, wasn't he? But then it was just like, could someone else just take this off him for now?
That's a
Make
good
him work
question.
for
that. Who has been the worst number one in your eyes? That's a good question.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because
Worst
everyone's
is a
yeah.
tough, strong word, but
Go on, then. Who's been your worst
I
number one?
don't know.
Go on, say it-
I'd
say
have
it
to
on
go
here.
through the list
Say it, go on,
because
go on, say
I'm
it.
sure there's only been one or two for a week that you never would have thought would
Well,
have been.
we've had
I'm
this.
not sure.
We had this question before, didn't we? Who was world number one for a week? The shortest reign.
Oh, yeah.
We had it on the last pod.
Yeah, you done me in
I
that.
wonder if Mark get it.
But
Mark Calcavecchia, was it?
No, it's not. It's like that though. It's Tom Lehman.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah, 1996 won number one
yeah.
for a week. Bossed it for that whole week. Just probably around in his dressing gown and a cigar. All right. So, who's your pick for 2023 as a breakout player? Or it could be who you think it's going to press on. Like you're allowed to say Rory.
I think as a breakout player,
Or it could be, because someone's been around for a while and they're going to
triangle,
triangle. Say he's triangle.
Tringali.
Does he even play anymore?
Triangle.
It's the other two.
It's his name, isn't it?
No, it's-
Tringali. Please tell me that's his name.
Zane's the only one that can say it. I can say Cameron Tringali, but that's not who you're
No,
talking
that's
about.
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Sahith.
Yeah.
It is Sahith, yeah?
Yeah, but
What?
It's true.
Josh has a real issue with Sahith's second name. Go on.
No, I just said it.
Go on.
I just said
Triangle.
it. Tringali. What is it?
That's Cameron.
That's Cameron
Tringali.
Oh, right, sorry. You know what I mean. What is it?
Sahith Tagala.
There you go. There you go. That geezer.
Marcus. Wait a minute. But why? Why?
I just feel like he's obviously at the waste management. He done really well,
Yep.
and that was a bit of a breakthrough for him. And he was on the sponsors invite for that week.
Yep.
I remember rightly. And then his results, and he's
World number 43.
like he's just. If you look at his results, he's just snowballing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's building confidence. He's a great guy, and I just feel like he's just getting better and better and better. And I feel like he's just going to have a bit more of a breakthrough and a bigger event.
Okay.
And I think he's going to be the name.
Going to be the man. Mark.
I find it hard to believe that Rory is not going to start a dominant few years. I really do. I think he's in such a great place. But one person I think will come back into the fray, funnily enough, is Jordan Spieth. I feel like, I know it's a bit weird,
Yes.
but Jordan Spieth, I think, is trending in the right direction and has been for some time now. I think he was sort of sneaking under the radar
Got a theory on this. Go on.
towards the back end of the 2022 season. And I think that if something sparks, especially maybe if he gets something going at the Masters or even earlier than that,
Yeah.
I think we could be seeing Jordan Spieth become the household name again and the marquee group guy for 2023 again, just under the radar, but he'll be there. And I think He'll be there at the FedEx Cup. I think he'll probably be one of the guys you're talking about.
Yeah. It was my name, actually. It's been annoying. But, you know, he's kind of become a dad, probably getting a hold of that now as well, like getting all that organised. As you say, like he's kind of gone through a bit of a rough patch and like wrestled himself back, and he's now like played quite well for about a year or so. His long game's really good. Like statistically, he led strokes gained tee to green on quite a few events last year. Yeah. And if he can, well, oddly enough, he's obviously known for holding big putts and being a great putter, but it's been his putting that's held him back. But you kind of feel like if someone's not putting very well, that can spark up like really quick. Like it only takes 1 or 2 good weeks and he goes back to doing what he used to do, where he just hold 40 footers until Michael Graves go and pick the ball out the hole.
Yeah, you know, if you're a big game hunter and you're a clutch putter, then that doesn't, when you're back in that position, that doesn't go away, you know. And actually the brief time that I got to spend watching him and the people he was around last year, he's got a great group of people around him. He's well liked and everything seems very comfortable. I'd say for him and Justin Thomas and a few other guys, they've got a brilliant sort of aura and vibe about them when they're going about their business. And I think that over a long period of time, like you say, he's weathered the storm now, potentially. And he's just got a great base with which to say, I know I've done it before. Yeah. I've made it through this tough patch. Let's go again. Yeah,
I fully agree. I would have taken him, but you've nabbed him right from under my grasp.
Think on his feet.
So I'm going to say Xander Schauffele. Just on the point, I think he'll win a major this year. He's been a really good player for a long time, and he's like really stepped into that place where it seemed like he was in contention for all the majors without winning. And then this last year or so, what did he win, like 3 times last year? Like just going about his business. I think he's been building up something pretty big. He just got such a good all-round game. Like he's good off the tee. He can flight his long irons. Short game's good, and he can putt. And obviously he can close out tournaments, which is what you got to do. But I feel like it's just his kind of time, really. But it has been chat of him going to the Live Tour, and he's gone against it, and he's resisted the temptation to go. And it seems like a few players that have done that have really, the big players that have done it and kind of been outspoken about it have kind of stepped up. Whether it be like Shane Lowry or Rory or whoever, I think they kind of own their space. I reckon he's gonna be my choice. So yeah, that's our picks. What about anybody in the women's game, or are you happy with where it all left off last year?
Hope Lynn Grant gets out to the PGA Tour at some point. That'll be really good to see how she holds up out there.
DM to President Biden.
Yeah,
we'll let her in. She's well good.
Yeah, I hope to see that. I think she'll be really good.
Okay, like it. Okay, here's a one for you. A little bit off the cuff. What would be your best winter golf tip to any listeners who are out trudging through the slightly muddy playing fields at the moment? What would you say to somebody? What little tip would you give them for winter golf? What wouldn't it be in summer golf?
Anything.
Don't duff it.
Anything. Leaf ball. Play it a bit like a bunker shot.
Leaf it out.
Leaf ball,
play it like a bunker shot. Okay.
Yeah.
So like hit it a bit heavy?
A little bit heavy, yeah.
A little bit more speed.
It'll come out similar.
Or like a little chip or a pitch?
I would say from 30 yards and in.
It'd have like no spin on it, would it?
No, not loads. It comes out it will land soft though.
Yeah.
But not rippy.
I like it.
Yeah, there's one.
There you go. So I'll go to Mark and you come back with another.
If you want.
Mark, do you have any? You must say a little bit.
Probably a couple, yeah. I would say at this time of year, it's about just showing up. Just show up. And I would say if you're going to show up, don't be afraid to be brave and try the hard stuff, the stuff that you've maybe struggled with in the past. You've got the time to give it a go, to address it. And I think a lot of people struggle at this time of year because of the weather or the conditions, or they've got other things going on. They may be slot in a different sport at this time of year that takes priority. But like I say, if you're keen to get something going this season, at this point, it's just about showing up. If you can show up and just give it however long, half an hour, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And if you're going to do that, rather than just do the standardized stuff that you would normally do in the summer, whether it's just quickly running to the range and then playing 18 holes with your friends, like if you've got half an hour or an hour, go somewhere and just try the difficult stuff, the stuff that you know is chipping away in the background. Yeah. And just give it a go. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to learn either way. So that would be it, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like, to most people I play with now is to get them, if you could put the ego down and realise the ball's not going very far.
Oh, mate, obviously, yeah.
And just hit more club. And because the ball doesn't run, does it? So you even if you hit your 5-iron, say if you hit your 5-iron and you normally hit it 170 and then you got 170 shot, like realistically, it's probably playing 190 now.
Yeah, it's carry distance, isn't it?
Yeah, the cold.
Carry distance.
And everything. Yeah, the amount of time I see people come up 20 yards short because they don't quite hit as far as they think to do anyway. And then it doesn't bounce and then it's cold. Like, I reckon at the moment I'm hitting nearly almost clubbing up, using 2 more clubs and hitting it a bit softer. Obviously, if you're in your waterproof, you don't move as quickly, do you?
Wind's a bit, always feel the wind in the winter is always a little bit.
Like if I've got 155, I would say like I'm hitting like a little chippy 7-iron now, whereas normally I'd hit my 7-iron probably 170.
Yeah.
And the amount of people I play with recently, they hit lovely shots. It's like, that's 20 yards short.
And like you talk about with the ego, especially with the new handicap system, I feel like everyone this summer has had a field day with that. Like the standard scratch now is sort of irrelevant. There's no such thing. It's just that index and everyone's handicaps come down.
Yeah.
And now the weather is like worse. The golf course is playing longer. It's softer. And everyone's still got that same handicap.
Yeah.
But the golf course is playing that much longer. The conditions are that much
Greens
harder.
are not as good.
The greens are that much slower and bumpier.
Yeah.
And just don't put yourself down if your scores are higher. Like it will come back around again in the summer, but put that ego down a little bit, like you say with that.
Yeah. What about like chipping it around the greens? Because it's a bit tricky now, isn't it?
Don't be scared of putting it. If you're on the aprons before the green and it's a tight lie, you can always putt it or have a play around with a 3-wood or a 5-wood.
Hit a chip with a wedge and
you can bounce.
And the ground's firm so it doesn't dig in as much. And now that thing it's not bouncing at all. It is digging in.
Yeah.
Just get your putter out. It may not look as pretty, but like it just guarantees you some sort of the ball going forward.
Right.
Or it's a great opportunity again if you're willing to take a chance and try it. Is the Rick Lewis rescue?
Yeah, the Rick Lewis rescue. Yeah.
This guy relies on this shot.
Yeah, just use like a putting stroke, but with the hybrid.
Yeah. And obviously everything's a bit slower on the deck, so it gives it a bit more oomph for less work.
But Callaway used to hate it when people used to call them rescues.
Yeah, utility rescue.
Because it was because rescue was a tailor-made rescue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So when you go into the toy truck, you're like, "Can I get one of rescues?" They'd be like, "Look at you, like burning hole in you."
I've made that mistake with Ian, Peter, Seamus on numerous occasions, and as you say, it's like daggers.
Yeah, they literally spit on you like, "Get out."
Yeah. The other thing around the greens is like we were talking about with the carry distances. Like, don't be scared to use.
Give it a rip.
If you've got a good lie, like you can pitch it up near the hole
next to the pin,
and it'll stop. Like you don't need to try and run it up because sometimes it's a bit inconsistent, that bounce, and you'll see people leave it 20 foot short a lot of the time where it doesn't bounce and run. Just pitch it up near the hole.
That's the thing. I think if you've got a half decent technique, then just get your wedge out and fly it all the way up there.
Yeah.
It takes out all the break, all the funny bounces. You don't feel confident in your technique, then get the hybrid out and do that part. But then there's like a bit of a switch. If you kind of know that, okay, I'm not going to duff it, I think just, get your most lofted club out.
Yeah.
Because someone put on social media the other day about, which was quite an interesting point, which I agree with, was like, actually, I think the best short game players I know in this day and age tend to have a club. They have one club they always go to, and then they will change clubs every now and again if need be. But they're good with that club, and they could do that. I think, like when I see these videos, people are like, yeah, use all your clubs. Like, what? So what you're doing now is you're giving someone who doesn't practice once in 6 months, let alone practice like 3-4 times a week, saying to them they should use a 7-iron chip and run and a hybrid and a lob wedge and sand wedge and a pitching wedge and a 9-iron. I know that going from 56 to a 9-iron is like, I think I haven't practiced recently. So why would people say, the 9-iron bumper run's going to be easy. It's like, yeah, but I don't know what that does.
Yeah, have a base.
I haven't practiced. So like, why would I do that? Because you might, the ball comes off quicker or whatever. Yeah. The whole use all your bag, I just think that is complete nonsense.
I think in some scenarios it might call for it, but I agree with you. Like that may be 1 out of 10 where where your hand is forced, where really you've got no other option but to be clever and use the clubs in your bag. But I agree that you see that certainly the top end of the game, guys are relying on one shot and using ball position or hand position on the club to alter flight and yardage. But they're relying on that one single loft. One thing I would say on the greens, I think this time of year is a great opportunity for guys to be more aggressive at holding, and this may sound stupid, but holding putts. I think slower greens give you the opportunity, and 9 times out of 10 you're putting up uphill because you haven't got it to the hole because you've either chipped it short.
Front, aren't they?
Yeah. So you've got a great opportunity to start to be more aggressive, not only with the speed that you're using, but your mindset as well. So learning that being more aggressive takes less break and you're taking control of the putt versus hoping that the break will take you. You know, it's a great opportunity to become more aggressive on the greens and then carry that through, obviously, as the speed changes throughout the season.
Like this time of year, it doesn't really matter. If you can now's the time of the year where you can kind of mess up a little bit, can't you?
Well, yeah.
And just try stuff out.
An aggressive missed putt will finish maybe 3 feet.
Gimme's are longer, aren't they, in the winter? Do you not think?
Yeah.
Gimme's are longer. Yeah, pick that up, mate.
Yeah,
everyone just would have made that in the
summer.
Do you not think it's hard? I think it's harder to hold putts on slow greens than it is fast greens. Do you not think?
Much harder.
Depending on the condition. If they're bumpy, then that's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? But
why do you think it's harder?
Because you got to hit it harder, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to hit it harder.
So
the control of the stroke.
Yeah,
you've got less control of it.
Yeah.
Well, you're harder to start it online.
You're focusing more on pace control, aren't you, versus, line or I always felt when I was putting on good greens, good firm fast greens, line was the only thing I ever thought about because the pace,
just get it rolling.
Exactly, just get it rolling. Whereas this time of year, pace comes into the equation, and then as we all know, when everyone's thinking of 3 or 4 different swing thoughts, it just becomes harder.
I don't know about you, but when we used to play the Minotaur and we go out to the creek and it was the first event, I always hated uphill straight putts into green. For me, I just feel like it could go, it bounces anywhere and I got to hit it. If there's a bit of hit in the stroke, I don't like that. Yeah. So when you're playing into the greens and you're trying to leave yourself that straight up, to me, it took me a little time to work that out, but I prefer the downhill putt. I felt like it turned less and I actually had more chance of holding it.
There's least margin for error on the uphill into the green straight.
Yeah.
Because if you push or pull it at all, it gets offline and then tracks offline and then gets pulled offline. Whereas, you're going against gravity, so gravity's always want to pull it away from the line. Yeah. Whereas obviously if it's downhill, kind of easier because like gravity's pulling it in a straight line. Yeah. So once you get it onto that straight line, it's just like you can just start walking, can't you?
But also spends less time on the floor, right? It's bouncing into the grain.
Yeah. Because if you like get you can pull or push a downhill putt a tiny bit, and it'd still be okay, can't it? Yeah. If you pick the right line. Yeah. But on the uphill one, if you pull or push it a little bit, you basically
less resistance.
You know the minute you've hit it as well. You know the first foot of the
if you hit it a little bit at the bottom or out the hill, you're done.
Yeah. Get out of here.
But I bet you there's a high percentage of players who will always try and leave themselves. Yeah. Let's try and find that straight uphill putt.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Any more little gems for the winter golf?
Umbrella. Take one of them. Waterproofs. Stay warm. Yeah. Hand warmers in the pockets. Hand warmers.
Yeah, but you know what? Those things.
They're a pain.
They're bloody brilliant when you get home that night, aren't they? When you've been out all day, tee off at like 9.
Well, you don't think they're warm up
You're trying to squeeze them, so it's kind of working. You forget about it for a few holes, and then all of a sudden you walk in the door, you think, oh, my freaking leg's burning up here. You put it out, and that thing's roasting, isn't it? Roasting.
Where'd you get them from? The golf club in the morning.
Pro shop, yeah.
Pro shop. Right. Get some on Amazon.
Yeah.
When you leave in the morning, do it then. Then when you get to the golf club, they'll be warm.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah. Done.
It's a little J-Dub, little trick of the trade for you.
There you go.
You ever done it?
No, never.
No. Okay, never mind. Any last couple of bits? Any heads gones this week or across the Christmas period? I mean, we have actually not podded for a month. Had a bit of a shutdown over Christmas. Has there been anything over this period? Mark's probably got most of his house done, so the heads gones are off now.
I wouldn't say anything in particular, like just a random thing, head's gone. So when there's a 2-way corridor and then there's the doors, right? You got 2 doors, so walking through. So one opens one way, one opens the other. Yeah. And then, but people always want to walk through just one of the doors. They don't open the other one that are walking the other way. Does that make sense? So you got
them.
Yeah. So they will wait for you at the door or hold the door open or coming through. Mate, I'm just going to open the other door and walk through it.
Like at the David Lloyd team.
Exactly this. It's exactly where it happened.
Down the Dave.
Exactly. Do you know, but before the stairs and you're going up and everyone's waiting, there's a queue and there's like, just open the other door that's on the right-hand side. There's 2 doors there.
Yeah, head's gone there. Yeah.
I don't know if I explained that very well, but...
That's good. Go on. Mark, any good ones?
I'd say my only head's gone is that I wish that when you went to Daytona at Sandown and you qualify in one cart, that they put you in the same cart when you actually do the race.
Oh, right.
Because I qualified in one cart.
When was this?
This was just this was a couple of weeks before Christmas. Max French very kindly entertained me down there. He had some vouchers. We spun around there, so we had a qualifying and a race, and it was absolutely hacking it down with rain. I mean, it was so much fun, so hard, but I qualified in one kart, which was great. And then I step into another kart, which, feels like it's got 3 wheels on it.
It's like going through open qualifying, using a set of clubs, and then get to the next one. So I know you can't use those.
Yeah.
You can't use these ones now.
Yeah. So
maybe a different golf ball.
And I know Mark, and I know how much that would have annoyed you. I bet you must have had a little bit of an argument, or there was a conversation happened after that happened.
Well,
I'm leaving.
There was something happened.
Fortunately, it worked out all right in the end. But that first lap or so, I was just in that helmet. If it was on TV and in that helmet, it would have just been bleep, bleep. I was having a meltdown.
That's something from Top Gear.
A head off.
That would be good.
That was my head was.
The head's gone.
I reckon my mini head's gone is now we're not part of the EU. My passport's getting filled up really quickly with stamps.
Yeah.
A bit annoying. I have to get a new passport soon.
Especially when they stamp a clean page because there's room
That's
on
a bogey,
others.
that, isn't it? Big bogey. And also now you've got to go in the big queues and stuff.
Can you tell them what page you stamp?
I guess you could do, couldn't you? But you know what some of the passport people are like. Some of them are the nicest people you ever meet, and other people they'd probably stamp it on an even worse one because you've asked them to put it there.
You're an inconvenience.
Sort of yeah, that is a big time inconvenience. Any new equipment for you boys? I know Josh has gone down the little old Titleist 975D route.
975D, yeah. So
have a look on his Instagram.
Starting up
posted that one.
the 9 Club bag, and that was the first little purchase.
So what's the 9 Club bag? Go and tell us.
So it's 9 for me is if I was going out to play with you boys or just casually, and there is no performance involved. It's just for pure enjoyment. And I would do the same with cycling. I want to do the same with a bike. Like I'm not going out to ride fast. I'm on a recovery ride. I'm just going out to enjoy the scenery and whatever else. And I would use like a vintage bike. So this is the same for me.
You definitely wouldn't. You would use your nice S-Works brand new pristine bike you just cleaned. Not ride as fast.
No,
You've got a vintage bike.
No, maybe I would. Depends how much my legs are at me. Yeah, so the 9 clubs bag. 9 clubs as well because you can mix it up, hit different shots, loads of different flights, draws, fades, close a few gaps. Also the bag's a lot lighter, which is nice.
It helps.
Strap. And it's just cool, isn't it?
Cool.
It's just cool. And then the clubs that you wanted to use.
What have you got then? So you got a 975D.
That's the first club.
Right, okay.
That's the first club.
What clubs do you use? So driver?
I haven't quite worked this out yet. I actually had a FaceTime with Jack Norman earlier and we were chatting about the 9 clubs and stuff. So it's in the works. But what do you
basically
think?
it's just like drop the evens or the odds out your bag, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, 5, 7, 9. Yeah, 3, 5, 7, 9. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I'm thinking maybe MP. I was going to go TP11s, but I think they're a bit too old.
Right.
So I think I'll go 33s.
Right, yeah.
33s.
Yeah.
And then putter, I'm a bit unsure. If anyone thinks of a putter,
It's got to be old,
send me a message.
It's got to be old.
An old legend putter, retro.
There was a fella I worked with today who had an old original oil can.
Really?
Yeah. And the insert, it was mint. Yeah, it was mint. The insert, everything that it still had the oil can finish on it. He's kept it really nicely.
I remember them head
with
covers.
all the multiple dots in the cutout. Really, really nice. Because the only time they ever used that face again was in the button back, which was about 10 years later.
Yeah,
good part of that.
Really, yeah, the button back. Yeah, because Kepka was using that for a while. The button back.
Yeah,
yeah, no, really nice.
Tell you what putter I would put in there. One of your old ones. The 2-ball blade rusty with a filled bottom.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That
was that the centre shafted one, or was that heel shafted?
It was
heel shaft. Yeah, it was
with no arm.
No
yeah. No, that was pure.
That was very nice.
That was really nice. That lost that. Don't know where it is.
Yeah. I bet you someone that you know has got that.
Stolen that
because I would have done that.
Yeah, I've got loads of stuff that's gone missing. Loads of stuff. Like I've like recently got a couple of sets of pre-owned. Pre-owned, like a fancy way of saying second-hand, isn't it? Callaway Legacy Blacks, which I used for quite a few years, and to be fair, I did wear the last set out. The 6 arm was pretty much gone, but I don't know where that set is. I've lent them to somebody, and then they've gone. And I had a set of Callaway MBs, chrome ones. When I don't know, because the 7 iron is in our studio where we coach from, and it's like the best coaching club ever. And when you do demos, this like bladed 7 iron, I'd never miss a shot with it. But the rest of the clubs, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 pitching wedge have all gone walkabout. So I've obviously lent them to somebody, and someone's now not telling me they got them because I probably have to give them back. But yeah, so I've actually got a couple of sets of the Legacy back. Just had one set reshafted by Alex White at Wisley. He did put the wrong grips on them, which is a bit disappointing. But at least I've got decent shafts on them now, so I'll give those a little try when I go away to Dubai this weekend.
Dubai.
Yeah, have a little play around with those. Yeah, quite fancy a new driver maybe at some point. I don't know if anyone's on Instagram and follows golf. I mean, Callaway literally been sicking up over at everybody social media about this Paradigm drive. That would be quite an interesting one to try out.
The top of the driver looks a lot like the Stealth, doesn't it?
It does look very stealthy.
It does look very stealthy. They've added that on the crown. They've added this. I don't know what you call it. Didn't
TaylorMade announce a new driver? Or
the Stealth 2's out, isn't it?
Is that what it's called?
Stealth 2. I'm pretty sure it's
really weird, isn't it? How like they like make drivers that go so much further on the 1st of January. Odd. Every year.
And also, I don't why.
Get it.
I don't know why these manufacturers are making a rod for their own back. It's every 12 months. There's new tech.
I'm in
$600. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because I think there are peaks and troughs, aren't there? I think if a company has 5 different drivers, they'll get 2 of them right. One of them will be average. One of them will be decent, and one of them will be no good. And you just got to hope that you are the person that spends your money in that time, which I guess comes back to like getting fitted and you know what? I think if you're going to go get fit for a new driver or a new club, I think driver more than anything, because that's where most of the technology is now based, is like, don't just get sold on the fact that it's the new one with the new shiny head cover. Like, it might be better, but like, don't be afraid to be like, actually, no, my one's better.
Yeah.
Like, just stay on that. Like the old TaylorMade M2. Like, he still uses the first ever Rogue, which is kind of weird because I didn't think that was one of the best ones, yet he still uses it.
Suits him, yeah.
It suits you, yeah. I think what suits you, like, just stick with it.
Yeah.
And don't get sold on shiny.
Hence why I'm still using the M2.
He's still on the M2. M2 life.
Yeah. And do you know if Callaway have calmed down with the variations of the driver head? Are there 8, 10, 12? Because there were 8 of the last one, weren't there?
It should be just 2, right? Like a deep face, lower spin. That was always the thing, wasn't it? And then there was a slightly shallower, bigger head, more spin. Yeah.
But there were 8 variations last year, weren't they?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember TaylorMade did the same thing. Yeah, like you get a TP, whatever it was. And
there was like a diamond, double diamond, triple diamond plus, you know.
Yeah. I think there's one where someone comes and hits it for you.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be quite nice, like Josh.
Yeah. Got to pay extra.
That's most of the stuff. I guess in the digital world, TrackMan launched a Pro Tour, which is pretty cool, called the Next Generation Pro Tour, which you sign up and there's 250 entrants. I think it's maybe $100. There's a prize fund of $120,000, and they pick a course and you get a week to go and play your tournament on that course. I think that's pretty sick. 18 holes for 120 grand prize fund.
Very sick. How would that be regulated? How do you know?
You log in and that's it, and you go and play. Like I guess I wonder. Like for instance, how could we get Josh come hit the tee shot?
Well, this is what I'm saying.
And someone can hit the iron shot. So I guess why not? Like if you're smart enough to go and do that, like
I suppose you got to split the winnings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting though.
Fancy it.
But you could have done that on a combine test.
Yeah. Which had money on the line as well, right? Monthly money on that.
Yeah, there was like a whoever the highest score at the end of the month got. Was it 100 grand?
I don't know, it's 50 or something like that, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I mean, ultimately, it's great advertising for TrackMan. Yeah. And, you know, as long as it's a legitimate score, if there were 3 or 4 people, like you say, those 3 or 4 people have got to split it. If it's one guy, good for you, you're getting it all. Like, it doesn't really matter.
It takes a good putter out of play, I think.
Yeah. Question I have, if there's 250 people and it's 18 holes, and the putter, as I understand it, it's automatic inside 6 feet gimmies or something like that.
It's an average. I think when you hit the green, it gives you an average putts you would have from that distance. So everyone gets the same.
So it's not like when you play at the moment where I can hit 3 feet, you hit 6 feet, and it gives you the putt and doesn't give me the putt.
No, it's not. It would be like 1 point something.
Right.
So you would have like 1.2 putts from that distance.
I was going to say, because otherwise,
1.8 putts. 250
people, there's going to be like 30 people who shoot 63.
Yeah.
Now, how would they sort that out? But if it's done on decimals, decimals, that makes sense. Yeah. So there probably won't be any playoffs or like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That's pretty cool. You going to have a go at that?
I would love to have a go at that.
If you can get
I said to you, didn't I?
It sold out really quick, didn't it?
It went really quick. Yeah, I didn't realise. I would happily do that.
Yeah, Mark, would you? In your wheelhouse somewhere?
I think I've got to get back
$100?
into. Yeah, I mean, it's worth a go, isn't it?
Little throwaway amount.
I've just got to get back into it. Similar to the bag setup. Like for me, I'm dedicated to getting back into it for me this year. So I'll stick with what I've got. But the idea of new clubs it's starting to excite me somewhat. But I'll get back into it.
Come back from raves. So yeah, we'll round it up. I've been lucky enough to get a couple of new hats from Mark. We were chatting earlier. They're not quite for sale yet, but they will be. Get a lot of people texting me or asking me if there's going to be hats for sale. We'll work on that, will we?
Yeah, 100%. We'll get them out to people. We've just got to set it all up correctly. But there's some good gear out there. It's certainly, and it'll be made available very soon.
A little bit of Bear Tiger merch. And I think if there's nothing else to work on, we'll be back next week. We've got PGA Tour Golf back this week, the Century down in Hawaii. If you get a moment, go on YouTube and roll it back to Tiger and Ernie Els playoff from back in the day before watching the Sunday and realise how average everybody is compared to those boys then. But yeah, look forward to chatting to you boys probably next week.
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Everyone have a good week and like, subscribe and follow. Cheers.